I screwed something up. I wanted to hear the intro music. It wasn't letting me hear it, so I screwed something up. So I suppose whatever, we'll just get started right now, you know? That's what happens when we try to do, when we try to get technical. Like I said, I was trying to be able to listen to the music myself. One of the lights didn't turn on, too, so that's why the lighting's weird. It's just one of those days. Tonight's going to be one of those days. You guys were hearing it, but I wasn't. And then I switched it so I could hear it, but you couldn't. And then all of a sudden it's just like rapid countdown. I was like, whatever. Hello, everybody, and welcome to an evening edition of The Rational American. We're going to talk about some big news stories of the day. And I haven't done an evening show because I was enjoying spending time with my family. However, tonight they had martial arts, so they were going to be leaving. And my wife, as she was getting ready to go out the door, she said, hey, dear, can you do the dishes? And I'm like, sorry, I have to go to work. So I did. So I came in, and you guys are getting a show tonight because I didn't want to do the dishes. And there were a lot of them. But, so that's kind of funny. But I know many of you guys see the title of this video, and you're probably like, what the heck? Where is he going with this? What's he talking about? The madness. And I know. We'll try to dive into it. My belief, and I kind of, if you listened earlier, then you kind of know where I was going with this. Because, yes, all of them are guilty. They're all guilty. Because there's no reason why classified documents should have ever left, the White House. The skiff, as everyone says. There's no reason. Outside of the fact, everyone could be like, oh, Donald Trump had the right to declassify whatever he wanted. Yes, and no one's going to argue that unless you're a liberal. But the documents should have never left. They should have never left. Someone said, am I broadcasting a trial? No, I'm not broadcasting a trial. No. I'm doing a bunch of stuff where I'm transferring the office to the store. So it's just kind of a pain in the ass. So no trial coverage right now. No, not right now. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe next week. But it's very odd. Someone say, I Trump, no, because he's allowed to have them. No. Okay, let's make this perfectly clear. Trump isn't allowed to have classified documents on their face, okay? Unless he declassifies those documents. They still have to be seen in a secure setting. That's the truth. It's not, while Donald Trump does have the right, and it's, there's nobody higher, and it's never been argued either. There's nobody higher than Donald Trump to declassify documents. He could, in fact, declassify anything by literally saying this document is declassified. But him merely having documents doesn't mean that the document is declassified based on how it works. You know what I mean? He could declassify it, and there's no precedent set on how he could declassify it. But my guess is he would have to at least say out loud or say somewhere that he declassified the documents. And here's another way that you know that the documents weren't declassified. Because at no point did Donald Trump ever say he declassified those documents. He could have nipped this whole shit in the butt right from the very beginning and said, all of these documents are declassified. I have that ultimate power. When they left the White House, I declassified every document. He has never once put that on Truth Social or anything like that. Not at all. But that's the truth. It's not just him possessing the documents doesn't mean that they're declassified, because that by that argument, any document that he looks at in the White House is classified, or that is classified or has classified markings, would automatically be declassified. You would have to, like, even at the bare minimum, he would have to be like, yo, Mark Meadows, this document declassed. You could even go, yo, Mark D. Like, and D is code word for declassified. Or he could go, yo, Mark, piece of paper, free as a bird. You know what I mean? But there's no actual process. Well, there isn't a process for declassifying documents. Ultimately, the president could decide whatever he wants to be declassified. But he has to do it. It's like an actual process. It's not like, does that make sense? So the idea of him being like innocent of possessing these documents is kind of silly when you think about it, because you can't. He had no reason to have them. We don't even know what they were. Everyone said, "Oh, they're nuclear codes," and then that turned out to be false. Oh, they're nuclear secrets, and that turned to be false. Oh, it's a list of all the CIA operators worldwide. That's all false and everything. Nobody actually knows what the documents. I could say with 100% certainty, he had no business having those documents. Okay? And the mere fact that and again, he didn't even have tangible control over those documents. As we've already covered, they were transported by GSA, a government organization, who packed, who secured, who transported, who loaded and offloaded the trucks and dumped all that crap in Mar-a-Lago. We know that. We don't know if Donald Trump has ever, I would be curious, if I was the lead investigator trying to prove culpability, I would be like, okay, let's fingerprint. We got Donald Trump's fingerprints on file. Donald Trump's fingers aren't on this, piece of paper. Okay, bye. Do you know what I mean? As simple as that. It would be simple, because then you could steer clear of Donald Trump being, responsible for it. Because there have been examples of people that have been charged for merely possessing classified documents. Or actually, there haven't been any charges for people merely possessing. There's only been charges for people that take classified documents. And this is the truth. Everyone can look this up, because I did. Since 2005, the FBI and Justice Department have launched at least 11 investigations into classified documents being found where they're not supposed to be. In some targeting high-profile U.S. officials, including former National Security Advisor and former CIA director. Others who have been prosecuted who have pled guilty or were convicted include Defense Department employees, defense contractors, and employees or contractors with the FBI, the CIA, and the NSA. And here's a list of some notable ones. In October 2005, former U.S. National Security Advisor Sandy Berger pled guilty to knowingly removing classified documents from the National Archives and Records Administration. Berger admitted to concealing and removing 5 copies of classified documents from the archives in September and October of 2003. He also admitted to concealing and removing handwritten notes in violation of the archives policy. In September 2005, he was ordered to pay a $50,000 fine and give up his security clearance for 3 years. In March 2013, retired Lieutenant Colonel Benjamin Pierce Bishop was arrested in Hawaii and charged with 1 count of unlawfully retaining documents related to the national defense and 1 count of willfully communicating national defense information to a person not entitled to receive those documents. Now, they charge this guy because he showed those documents to a Chinese national, right? Yeah, a spy maybe. But he showed those documents. So what is that? Let's say, for example, the Hunter Biden. Let's take Hunter Biden for an example. Say they did the old fingerprint check on the Hunter Biden classified documents, on Joe Biden's classified documents, and Hunter Biden's fingerprints were on those documents. At that time, you would easily be able to prove that not only did Joe Biden violate the law by having classified documents in an unclassified setting and not in a SCIF, but that he also shared said classified documents that were in his possession and control with someone that was unauthorized to see those documents. That's why you're never going to hear that they fingerprinted any of these documents. You're never going to hear that, because it would be so easy to prove, right? Think about it. You fingerprint a documents and you got foreign nationals fingerprints on it. You got Hunter Biden's crack stains on it. You got all that stuff that's on the documents, right? But that's why they'll never fingerprint them, because that'd be crazy. Anyway, Bishop pled guilty in March 2004. He was sentenced to more than 7 years in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. He, according to this, court papers allege Bishop, who was working for a defense contractor, stored 12 documents containing classified information at his residence, which again, that in itself is a violation. Keep that in mind, because it's not a secure facility. You can't store classified documents in a non-secure facility, which is the big problem with Donald Trump, with Mike Pence, and with Joe Biden right now. Forget about whether they move documents from one location to the other. Forget about all the other arguments that everybody's arguing about. The fact is that the 3 most powerful people in America, or at least at one time, the most powerful people in America, took classified documents from a place, whether they did it or not, took classified documents from a classified setting and moved those to an unclassified setting, which violates the law. And based on the fact that these were in Joe Biden's home, based on the fact that they were in Mike Pence's home, and based on the fact that they were in Donald Trump's home, that in itself would be a crime because they are in constructive possession of those, documents. You know what I mean? And they're not classified settings. The garage with Joe Biden. I mean, you can look in different ways. Like Mike Pence found it in his library, right? In documents with his library. Donald Trump's were found in a secured, like a door that was locked in a secure document storage room, right? So the door was locked. The FBI came in when they discovered the documents were there. I believe the Trump administration actually, or after the National Archives, whatever, contacted them about missing documents, they discovered the documents. The FBI went there when they were notified about the documents. The FBI then said, hey, that little lock on your door isn't enough. You got to put a padlock on the door. They installed the padlock on the door. And that was apparently at that time secure enough for the FBI. But it wasn't secure enough for the media because, well, they jumped on it and said it was trade secrets. But there's more. There's a lot of examples, and I want to run through them because I think it's important that everyone understands that this isn't isolated to this is a big issue. And everyone is focused on the fact that, or someone going to jail. Here's the bigger fact is classified documents that were in the possessive control of the most powerful people in America were able to get to a declassified setting. I don't care whether they send Joe Biden to jail. I don't care whether Mike Pence goes to jail or Donald Trump goes to jail. I want a concrete solution on how they are going to assure that our trade secrets, our national defense secrets, our intellectual property, intellectual secrets are not easily being transferred from secure facilities out into the public. I demand that as an American citizen. Everybody else should. Everyone could argue about, whoa, someone should go to jail. Listen, we all know damn right that Donald Trump, Mike Pence, and Joe Biden are not going to go to jail. In fact, they're not even going to have charges pressed against them, especially not Donald Trump, because that would be the hardest one for them to go after, to be completely honest. Because by what we already said, Donald Trump could simply say, nah, these are declassified based on me. I declassified them. Or Donald Trump could even say, I didn't think I needed to declassify them because I'm the person that can declassify everything. If they're in my possession, then I declassify them. But he hasn't said any of that. The closest thing to that Donald Trump has ever said about these documents is that he could declassify the documents. He never said just that simple statement. That simple statement right now would just be like, done, because it's never been charged. If they were to charge him based on that admission, he could fight that all the way up to the highest courts. There is no set procedure for him to declassify documents because he can declassify whatever he wants. However, that doesn't apply to Mike Pence or Joe Biden. Now it does for Joe Biden because he's president, but it didn't apply for the documents that were discovered, the classified documents that he took from the White House. And I guess when he was senator, or who was the one with the senator? Was that Pence or Biden? But it doesn't apply to the documents that they took from the White House in 2017. That's the truth. But there's more. Retired U.S. Army General David Petraeus, a former CIA director, pled guilty to one count of unauthorized removal and retention of classified material. The plea followed revelations that Petraeus shared some of the materials with his biographer and mistress. He was sentenced to 2 years probation and a $100,000 fine. U.S. Navy reservist Brian Nishimura was sentenced to 2 years probation and a $7,500 fine after he pled guilty to downloading and storing classified documents from his deployment to Afghanistan in 2007-2008 on his personal device and media. A search of his home in May 2012 turned up numerous classified materials, both in digital and hard copy formats. So this Navy reservist downloaded his own service records from the military that had classified documents on them. He didn't share them with anybody. He saved them in his home, and he was charged, convicted, and sentenced to 2 years probation and a $7,500 fine. So why wouldn't the same thing apply to any single one of these politicians? You could make the arguments, too, that it's already known that Donald Trump did not pack the boxes. Donald Trump didn't transfer the boxes. Donald Trump didn't arrange for the shipment of the boxes. And Donald Trump didn't even load the truck or offload the truck. That was another government services administration the Government Services Administration, GSA, who by themselves has clearance to do it. So go figure that one too. So the organization that was responsible for moving the documents from the White House to Mar-a-Lago the ones that packed it, the ones that categorized it, the ones that loaded everything into the truck, they all had the adequate clearance to do that. That's the truth. These are the truth. A lot of people don't like to hear the truth, but it's the truth with an F. But there's more. Former national security contractor Harold Martin was arrested for what federal prosecutors described as theft of top secret government information that was breathtaking in longevity and scale. He was indicted in February of 2017 on charges of stealing and retaining classified materials and other material, according to a statement from the Justice Department. The department further alleged Martin stole and retained highly classified top secret documents covering 20 years, keeping them in his home and in his vehicle. According to an indictment, the documents stolen and retained by Martin contain NSA planning information and information on intelligence collection targets. Other documents from U.S. Cyber Command contained information on U.S. military capabilities, some of which were used in specific operations, documents about gaps in U.S. cyber capabilities. He pled guilty to the willful retention of national defense information in March 2019. In July of 2019, he was sentenced to 9 years in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. He's still in jail to this day. Tell me how that's different than Mike Pence or Joe Biden for that matter. This guy downloaded classified material, kept it in his house, kept it in his car, and he got 9 years in prison. Tell me how that's any different. And because again, we already know based on the premise of what Donald Trump was, the whole timeline of how that happened. Donald Trump's already excluded from that, from any commonality with this. Mike Pence, however, the classified documents from his time in the White House, and they were in his library. Joe Biden, the documents were from who knows when, his time in the White House as vice president, plus maybe his time as senator as well. And those documents were stored all over the place and moved after. Here's a big point that a lot of people are forgetting. The documents that let's say, Joe Biden stole from the White House, those documents, it wasn't like they were packed into a box and the box was, in his garage where it remained for the next 5 years. No, those documents were transferred from the White House to wherever they were transferred, Wilmington or whatever. And then they were again transferred in 2018. They were selected, taken out, and brought to the Penn Biden Center and back in Washington, D.C., a full year after he left the White House. Actually, 13 months after he left the White House. That is a whole nother level, as they used to say on Mad TV, a whole nother level. That's a whole nother level of corrupt bullshit that nobody really knows what is going on, but it's the truth with an F. It's weird. I guess people on social media didn't want to see this. I don't have any viewers today. I don't quite know what's going on with that. Unless it's just not working. I don't know. Am I live on all the normal channels, April? Will you let me know? Or maybe I forgot to go live on a channel or something. I don't know what's going on here. Something's going on. We don't have the normal viewers that we do. But yeah, it's very perplexing, and there's more, and I'm going to run through as many of these as I feel like it. Former defense contractor and sailor Weldon Marshall was arrested for unlawfully detaining classified information stored on compact discs and computer hard drives that he kept at his home in Texas. The information included classified documents from Marshall's time with the U.S. Navy and from his time as a defense contractor in Afghanistan. He pled guilty in March 2018 and was sentenced to more than 3 years in prison, followed by a time of supervised release. So what's kind of interesting is the past two, these people all did the same exact thing that Joe Biden and Mike Pence did, right? They took documents related to their actions during their term of service with the government. This guy was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Do you think Mike Pence will serve a day in prison for this? No. And it doesn't, this doesn't say, because we heard Douche Canoe, whatever his name is, John Kirby, we heard him today during the White House press conference say that, the difference he didn't say the difference. He basically said the procedure, if you find that you take classified material outside of the classified setting, would be to self-report. And then he added that's exactly what Joe Biden's team did. However, that didn't answer the question that was asked by Fox News' Peter Doocy. Because Peter Doocy said, what happens if someone takes it, right? Like if a nobody takes it from a classified setting to a non-classified setting? John Kirby certainly is not going to be like, oh, they're going to jail. He's not going to say that because that would be, just too honest. But that's it, bro. It's just crazy stuff, man. Former CIA officer Jerry Chun-Sing Lee, also known as Zen-Ching Lee, was arrested on charges of unlawful retention of national defense information. Prosecutors allege that Lee, while staying at hotels in Hawaii and Virginia, was in possession of 2 small books that contained handwritten notes that included true names and phone numbers of assets and covert CIA employees, operational notes from asset meetings, operational meeting locations, and the locations of covert facilities. Lee was indicted on May 2018 on 2 counts of unlawfully retaining documents related to the national defense, as well as 1 count of conspiracy to deliver national defense information to a foreign government. He pled guilty and was sentenced to 19 years in prison for conspiring to communicate, deliver, and transmit national defense information to China. And that's another reason why I think a lot of these documents that are recovered, including the ones in Trump's place, all should be fingerprinted. And if any person's fingerprints that didn't have the adequate security clearance for those, they should be brought in quick as shit. You know what I mean? They should already be in there. So if Hunter Biden's fingers are on, his fingerprints are on any of these documents, he should be arrested. And that's what should happen, But it's very interesting. It's very interesting. Former National Security Agency employee Elizabeth Jo Shirley was arrested in Mexico City on charges of parental kidnapping and was later charged with retaining 2 top secret documents on her electronic devices, both in Mexico and some stored at her home in West Virginia. Prosecutors additionally allege that Shirley sought to offer the information to the Russian government. In July of 2020, Shirley pled guilty to 1 count of willful retention of national defense information and to 1 count of an international parental kidnapping. She was sentenced to more than 8 years in prison for the willful retention of national defense information. She was also sentenced to 3 years for the kidnapping charge, which is crazy. She was sentenced for nearly over 3 times as long twice as long for the classified material as she was for taking her kid and fleeing the country, which is just absurd. Investigators conducted a search of the Hawaii home of Asia Janai Lavarolo, a U.S. Department employee, following her return from a temporary assignment to the U.S. Embassy in Manila. Investigators found numerous classified documents, writings, and notes relating to the national defense or foreign relations, and said the documents first seen by guests at a dinner party hosted by Lavarolo had not been transported by secure diplomatic pouch as required. She pled guilty to knowingly removing classified information in July. She was sentenced in February to 3 months in prison and $5,500 fine. That her fine was simply, or her charge was simply because she didn't put the classified documents in a classified diplomatic pouch. Like, no joke. This is how freaking crazy this is. And this is why it's such a big story, that they all haven't been arrested. They don't need to prove that it was done intentionally, only that it happened, which is the craziest thing. They don't need to prove that it was done intentionally. Do you know what I mean? I mean, look, nearly, half of the ones that we've already reviewed, they're not even done intentionally. These are like people keeping notes or something like that, which is crazy. Kendra Kinsbury, an employee for FBI's Kansas City division, was indicted on 2 counts of having unauthorized possession of documents related to the national defense. The court documents allege Kinsbury removed sensitive material and classified documents from a workplace over a period of more than 12 years and kept them at her home. One of the documents included information on al-Qaeda members in Africa, including suspected associates of al-Qaeda founder Osama bin Laden. Nothing is out yet about that one because I guess she's still pending charges or pending resolution of the case. But those are just some notable ones where people were charged with simply as simple charges as retaining, not stealing, retaining, which means it's in your constructive possession. Retaining. It's like, for example, if your friend gives you a car and you've never seen said car before, and you're driving down the road and police pull you over and you're pulled out at gunpoint and they're like, "What are you doing, sir?" And you're like, "I'm driving." And they're like, "Why are you driving a stolen car?" And you're like, "I didn't know it was stolen." But you still get a charge for receiving stolen property. That's true, I think. I don't know. Well, actually, that seems like receiving. Like that. Do you have to prove that someone knowingly knew that something was stolen for receiving stolen property? I don't know. I watch too many cop shows. Apparently not close enough, though. But isn't that crazy? And that's kind of what I'm talking about with this whole thing is everyone's just overlooking and being like, "Oh, Mike Pence is going to jail. Oh, Joe Biden's going to jail." All the conservatives like, "Yeah, Joe Biden's going to jail." Everyone's like, "Oh," all the liberals are melting down saying, Donald Trump was trying to trade, nuclear codes and shit like that. Which, again, none of that was even happening. So keep that in mind. All the liberals that may watch this, apparently on replay, because no one's watching live, besides all you awesome people. But all the information that Donald Trump had, it all came. Remember, they staged all the photos and leaked them to the New York Times. What was it, Maggie Heffernan or whatever? They all leak all these stories all the time. They said that he was trying to trade nuclear codes and all this weird shit. And everyone believed it. Everyone reported on it. Even Fox News commentators on Sunday shows were talking about what if he did? What if he did sell nuclear codes to Russia or China? What if he did? Spurring that. You're not hearing that kind of debate with Joe Biden. You're not. And there's a lot more questions about who would classified documents be more entrusted with for the American public? Would they be Joe Biden, kept in his garage by his Corvette Stingray when Hunter Biden lives at that home? Or would they be Donald Trump with all his faults? Or would they be Donald Trump? Donald Trump really, and this is a lot, everyone talks about how awful of a person he was, but here's something for you to really think about. If Donald Trump was such an awful person and wanted to backstab and dude, the guy was in politics for 4 years. He was in politics at the highest level of politics. You telling me that he doesn't know the dirt on every single politician in D.C. about all the dark money, that he doesn't have just so much ammo to go after anybody he wanted? If he was such a dirty person, you would think he would release all that information. Look at what happened to Madison Cawthorn. He talks about drug parties and sex orgies with all these old wrinkly senators or congressmen, and he's voted out. Republicans funded to get him so he wasn't elected. That's true. It happened. Nobody can deny it. He spoke out about it on a podcast. He was shunned from committee, he was shunned from the Republican Party, and then the Republican Party actually put money into his political opponent's campaign to have him lose in the primary. That's exactly what happened. You know what I mean? And everyone's like, "Oh, I see a comment in the chat. We're like, oh, we need Donald Trump back." Why? He didn't do anything. If he was really going to do anything right now, spill the non-classified information. Spill the non-classified, tell everybody what we already know, that Lindsey Graham sits around wearing a diaper drinking whiskey with his pinky up. Tell everybody what we already know. Because you know damn well that Donald Trump, likely, as a shrewd businessman, as everyone says he is, are you telling me that he doesn't have any, non-classified information that would just decimate his political opponents? You telling me he doesn't? The only reason Donald Trump isn't putting it out there is because he himself is a politician now. He's not the same president that we all elected. Let's be honest. He's a politician. And he's conformed to the politician mind. And he's doing the same thing everybody else does. And it's sad because I voted for the guy twice and it pisses me off even to say it, but it's the truth. And you all know it. You may not want to admit it. You may not want to believe it. But you all know that I'm right. The Dr. Oz endorsement, even the J.D. Vance endorsement, those things didn't make sense. You know what I mean? They didn't make any sense. And so anyone like, and that's why, like, it pisses me off when I see all this argument about Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. All these social media commentators are going back and forth about it. It's really annoying to me. You know why? Because do I think Ron DeSantis would be a great president? Sure. But he's also beholden to this stupid ideology that everyone else does. All the same frickin' talking points. the CRT stuff. You hear Ben Crump is going to file a lawsuit against the state of Florida for that Africa, the AP African history course that they've banned because it had CRT. Oh, it had a chapter on inequality. Oh, it had a chapter on trans black people. Like, who fucking cares? It was a voluntary AP elective, meaning it's a course that the parents had to sign off on to get in there. Why the state of Florida would try to just say, oh, we're not going to allow this to go for a voluntary AP course? It's stupid. It's like pick your battles. Pick your battles. It's the same thing. He goes out and he talks a hard line, you know, DeSantis does. He goes out and he talks a hard line. But he does the same thing as all the other politicians does. And right now, and do I believe that Ron DeSantis is going to run for political office in 2024? Yeah, I do. I think, and he'll leave Florida in the dust. And he'll run, and he'll probably be one of the better presidents that we ever have. But the problem is that all Republicans are beholden to this weird ideology of the right-wing talking points, which shows that we're not going to be able to do anything. It shows that we're never going to be able to achieve anything. Because the only thing we're doing, it's like, CRT this, trans this, this. While they're single-handedly sending billions of dollars a year, or billions of dollars a month to Ukraine for military supplies. So I hate it when everyone's like, Trump this, DeSantis this. They're all fake. None of them represent us. Unrepresented is what we are all in Washington right now. That's why I made that hoodie. And that's the truth. And it's hard to see. It's hard to say. It's hard to swallow, but it's the truth. And I wish more people would realize it. I don't blindly follow anybody. But I'm also not going to just because I may not like who, Donald Trump seems to be now, I'm certainly not going to be like, throw him in jail because he's classified documents, because I can be pragmatic about it. I can actually think and say, okay, well, guys, do you think you have any chance at pressing charges against the only person that had the only ability to declassify documents at his whim? Literally, he could set a precedent for how to do it. He could literally declassify documents while taking a shit, while brushing his teeth with 1 foot up while Melania paints his nails. He could say that is the way to declassify documents, and no one could do anything. He is the only person with that role and responsibility. So for all of the leftists that keep being like Donald Trump this, Donald Trump is constantly in the news of the left. Constantly in the news on the left. Every single thing. Now McCarthy, because he doesn't want Shifty Shift and Fang Swalwell and America hating Omar, because he doesn't want them to have committee assignments. Now they say, it's because McCarthy's being a puppet for Donald Trump. No, McCarthy's being a puppet for big money, and he's being a puppet for rhinos. Okay, and sure, and Donald Trump is following in line. Donald Trump isn't pulling McCarthy's strings. McCarthy's pulling Donald Trump's strings. That's what's happening. You all know that just as well as I do. Everyone's like, Trump is playing 4D chess. Shut the fuck up. He doesn't know anything about chess. And that's the truth. That's firmly what I believe. That's the truth. McCarthy is in a world of his own. He's not listening to instructions from Donald Trump. And you want to look at, and here's the thing I don't like too, right? So you look at the GOP chairmanship, right? So you got Harmeet De Leon running against Rona McDonald's or whatever the fuck her name is, the moron there. The one that's never done anything good for the past 4 years. That's why we are in the mess we are as a country right now. Donald Trump refuses to endorse either one of them. He refuses to do it. Why? Because he wants to back the winner. That's all he wants to do. He wants to back the winner and say, see, I told you. And so he puts out nice statements about both, and that's what it is. Someone said, is that even the real Trump promoting killer bioweapons? Guys, shut the fuck up with the vaccine shit, bro. Seriously. Like, seriously. We all need to grow the hell up. Don't take it. Who cares? And if you did take it, why? Like, that was your choice. Deal with the consequences of your choice. That's like me, quitting a job and then being pissed about it and blaming everybody else for quitting that job, even though it was my choice to do. Do you know what I mean? I hate, like, Because people do that. They jump on this bandwagon. Oh, Donald Trump was pushing vaccines. Oh, that's the reason I don't like him. Donald Trump is a business guy. Okay, Donald Trump said, oh, you don't think I can create a vaccine in 9 months? Sure, let's give it all this congressional protection. So when it does harm people, which it's gonna do, I'm protected. And I can just say, well, I didn't know about any of that. And to be honest, anyone who thinks Donald Trump is a good dude, go look at his statement from last Monday on a podcast. He was on a conservative podcast, and they asked him point blank about the injuries related to vaccines. And he said, well, it could be argued that we saved 100 million lives. The guy doesn't give a fuck about anybody else. Come on. Christine Smith said, Steve, I love you, but not one person answers my questions. I don't know what your questions are because I can't see every single comment that goes up. But if you try to ask it, the best way is if you have a question you're watching on YouTube, send a super chat. I could see it there. Otherwise, you got to keep typing the question, Christine. That's the only way I'm going to be able to see it because I can't pay attention to 15 million different chats. But it's true. I just hate how everyone is doing everything they do. Someone said, yikes, it's a horrible statement. Yeah, it's literally Donald Trump's statement from a week ago. And the left media picked it up pretty quick. Right media is like, the DeSantis lovers on social media, they all covered it, because everyone's riding this vaccine bandwagon. Everyone knew that there was going to be implications with it. We were told you knew there were going to be implications with it because if you tried to talk about the implications, you were kicked off every single platform. You were called an anti-vaxxer and all that same stuff. Everybody knows that. We all knew it was going to lead you. You're telling me that all these drug companies didn't know? If they didn't know, why'd they go buy companies that specialize in making other drugs for the diseases that their booster causes? Look at AstraZeneca. Great example of that. Look up the drug Solaris and wonder why. Wonder why AstraZeneca would branch out and buy a company that specializes in rare diseases that have a direct link to the implications that are being found by the vaccines. Pfizer also did the same thing. Everybody knew this. I had whistleblowers within the drug companies telling me this back in 2021. I couldn't say shit. Because if I tried to, and we did say it, we said it on our platform. That's how many of you guys already know that, because we talked about it. But it's true. Someone said sign waivers so you can't sue them too. It doesn't even matter. You can't sue them anyway. It doesn't even matter. They have congressional immunity. Literally. The drug manufacturers have congressional immunity. Remember, who was the first one? Pfizer put out because they all had emergency use authorizations. And then, but they couldn't force companies, or they couldn't force the government. They could force the military, but they couldn't force the government to mandate experimental vaccines. They knew they would get sued out of their ass for it. So what they do, Pfizer got the first approval for the non-emergency use authorization. I forgot what it was called. You guys all know. Remember that? They all got this first vaccination, or this first drug that they didn't have. They didn't have it in stock. They didn't have it at all for months. And so then the government, and so what they do, they said that the emergency use authorization for Pfizer by known tech or whatever it was, that one could be used in lieu of the drug under the emergency use authorization, meaning you still were not protected. However, they could now mandate the federal employees to go get vaccinated. We all said this. Every single person, every single commentator on social media, we all said it. We all knew what they were doing. It was all clear and present, right? And what do you blame? Let me look another way. Okay, here's another argument. Here's another argument for all this stuff. Okay, so imagine that Donald Trump did not get the vaccine manufactured in 9 months, right? Everyone's criticizing Donald Trump for him pushing out warp speed and doing all that and creating these vaccines. What do you think would happen if he didn't do it? If he didn't get it done when he said he was going to, and the left would literally attack him, makes up shit to attack him about, they would have attacked him and blamed every single death. Hell, they still do. They still blame the deaths that happened under the Biden administration to Donald Trump, saying he was slow rolling it. He wasn't getting, services out quick enough. He wasn't getting the drugs manufactured quick enough. Remember, this is all true, and it's crazy. He had no choice but to put out a drug really quick, and he did what everyone would do if you were a greedy, money-grubbing piece of whatever. See, I almost went crazy and said that. But he protected the companies that he knew were going to harm people. So while all of you guys go out and say, oh, he's a better solution than everybody else, we'll also realize he's directly responsible for doing this. Doing this to our country and doing this to all of us. He's directly responsible for it. Do I fault him on that? Yeah. But would that be the sole reason why I don't vote for him? Fuck no. No, that wouldn't be the sole reason. I'm not going to vote for Donald Trump again unless he wins the primary, and then I'll have to vote my party. And even though it's not even my party, I don't know. I'm a conservative. We need a conservative party. We have the Republican Party. Let's bring back conservative party. Do they even have one? But it's sad, bro. Someone said Kumo was the effing Grim Reaper on that one over Trump. No, he wasn't. Kumo put old people in nursing homes to die. Okay, that's a whole different situation. Donald Trump created a vaccine and recommended that people take it. Didn't mandate it, but he recommended strongly that people take a vaccine. That is how many? Let's figure out how many people Kumo killed versus how many people the vaccine has. See what I did there? Yeah, I just made all you guys go, oh shit. Let's see how many people that Kumo killed based on his handling of COVID versus how many kids now have fucked up hearts for the rest of their lives. How many young women that Kumo locked in nursing homes versus how many young women died suddenly because their heart exploded. There's a huge fucking difference between what Chris Kumo did and what Donald Trump did and what Joe Biden did too. Because if you want to hold Donald Trump culpable for that, you have to also hold Joe Biden culpable for all that. Because and that's true. Like, I can't get struck on YouTube. I can't. There's no repercussions for me telling the truth now because now it's all out there. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. But for so long, social media was in cahoots with everybody, so you weren't even allowed to say. Can you imagine if I said this shit even 6 months ago? I would have been nuked quick as shit. You know? But don't compare Chris Kumo to Donald Trump, or don't compare him to anybody else. His handling was disgusting, and he should be in jail. But by that argument, Donald Trump should be in jail, you know, for his handling of the vaccine. Donald Trump didn't lock down everybody, but he let his arm of the government lock everybody down. Donald Trump can keep saying that. He didn't institute a national lockdown. The fuck you didn't. The fuck you didn't. Everyone always says that, but do you know the CDC works under that administration? You're telling me that Donald Trump couldn't impress on that, company? He could literally hold a press conference and say, listen, CDC issued new guidance today. I say, fuck that guidance. You guys go be Americans. You know, he could have held it. The guy literally would talk for hours and hours and hours, but you couldn't hear him say, oh, you guys don't lock down. You know, don't double mask, don't triple mask. He didn't do any of that. He sat back there, and then what did he do? Didn't he get the booster for fucking TV for everyone? So you all know it's good? I don't know, bro. It pisses me off. It pisses me off because so many people, someone said it was up to the states and even Republican states. Yep. Someone said, come on, this is all new from the beginning. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He could have issued a 2 week, 2 week shutdown, right? Instead, what they do, and everyone wants to blame Joe Biden for the COVID thing. The majority of the damage to our kids' education system, the majority of damage to the kids' brains and all that was because Donald Trump did not get up in public and say, guys, send your kids to school. Put them in masks, make them bubble boy, send your kids to school. He didn't do that. He wasn't the person that we all were. We all were saying the same thing. People that never protested in their life were out on the streets protesting, saying, F your mandates. I covered them. I drove all the way down to Charlotte. We covered all the nurses, all the very same nurses that were working on the front lines, protecting or saving people's lives that were dying because of this disease, were then told that they would lose their jobs if they didn't get the vaccine. It's the biggest shit. You didn't hear Donald Trump going up and standing up for those nurses. You're telling me he didn't know that 5,000 nurses walked out of a hospital system in Charlotte, North Carolina? Are you telling me it was on national news? Of course he knew. He didn't come up there and say it on the stage. So anybody that wants to be like, oh, well, there's nothing, it was all new. We didn't know. He didn't know. Fuck that. He didn't know. He didn't know. Get the hell out of here. You know? And that's what pisses me off. That's what pisses me off, because everyone just blindly follows this guy, right? Everyone blindly follows him. I look at things, I say pragmatic, but that's how I look at things. So I look at Donald Trump. When I look at each individual, way, I'm like, okay, I can figure out where this works. I can figure out where I line up with this. I can't get behind the Dr. Oz endorsement. I just can't. And, it doesn't make any sense. In my mind, Donald Trump's endorsements are why we didn't have a tremendous red wave. In my head, I firmly believe that. We lost Dr. Oz. Well, not even Dr. Oz. We lost to Fetterman. Because Donald Trump endorsed a freaking fake-ass conservative, a rhino. Dr. Oz is not a conservative. He's a rhino. That we have to start distinguishing between, conservatives and rhinos. We have to. Make them a new thing. Let's start a party called the Conservative Party. And they'll be like, aren't you different? Oh, how are you different than Republicans? Because we don't fucking sell out. Because that's the truth. We don't sell out, And someone said Walker was good at words. Are you talking about Herschel Walker? He wasn't a good person either. I pissed off a lot of viewers when I was talking about that. You know what? Here's one thing that's never happened in my life. I've never been accused of beating my wife. Ever. So anybody that's been accused, not just by their wives, but by their kids, of abusing their wives, fuck no. Fuck no. I just can't support that kind of person. And I pissed everybody off when I said that. And they're like, well, the Dr. Warnock, he's been accused. I saw that too. I wouldn't vote for either of them. I would have sat out that freaking vote if I was a Georgia resident. There's no way. And you could say, oh, he changed. Okay, whatever. I don't give a shit. Once you hit a woman, you're always going to hit a woman in my eyes. Same with kids. And I don't understand that. And how anybody can call themselves a conservative when they vote for a man that has abused women? Come on, bro. Come on. Which is crazy, because, how do we vote for anybody? In all reality, I guess because if you run for politics, you can't be normal. You can't be a real American. You can't be a true person. You can't. And that's the truth. And someone said we need better candidates, Steve. Yeah, we do. But how do you do that? How do you do that? Because you'll never be able to raise the money. People can't come together. People can't come together. We need more people to come together and raise money. And raise big money. We need to crowdfund our elections. Every single person. That's what we would need to do. Is crowdfund the elections. 5, 10, 15, 20, 2,500, your max contribution, whatever. But everyone needs to do it. If you live in Ohio, you should be repping the people that represent you, because that's what everyone forgets, is that if you elect a person in Ohio, that person still represents you in Virginia or me in Virginia, because they're still the vote that is crucial to achieve whatever it is that they're trying to achieve. If that person flip-flops and votes like a moron in whatever, and that statement works on both ways in both parties, then we're fucked. And that's what's transpired. We keep putting all these politicians in office that don't even give a shit about us. They're only there for themselves. They're only there for the fat paychecks. Look at the Santos fucking loser. Look at him. He's got a committee assignment making $197,000 a year, more than he's ever made, mind you, because he's a fucking liar. He's a liar. And he's sitting on the small business committee. It doesn't make any damn sense. And now Business Insider is reporting that, he may not even vote Omar off of her committees. He hasn't made his mind up yet. I bet that dude's a fucking Democrat, too. I bet he is as well. But the good thing is the second he switches over to the Democrat Party, McCarthy will boot him. Well, actually, can you do that once they're already seated in an assignment? I don't know. But it's sad, man. It's sad. Someone said Republicans just can't back a black person thinking it will get them the black vote. A POS is a POS. Yeah. It's sad, man. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's the whole thing is just nutty, you know? And it pisses me off. It pisses me off. The more I think about it, the more it pisses me off. Because, you know, in back to the classified shit, because everyone is just hyper focused on things that don't matter. That's all that matters. You know, they're focused on the fact, oh, you know, nobody's paying attention that classified documents from the White House, classified documents from this administration are just showing up randomly throughout the United States. It's insane that even the most watched, highly scrutinized people in the world, which are the president and the vice president of the United States, are seemingly able to misplace classified documents and have them appear. That's the biggest issue. I don't give a shit whether, you know, anything happens with any of these three people. I want to know what the policies are to assure that none of this shit happens again. That's the bigger question. I was thinking about it because there was that one reporter today that asked that question. There was that one reporter today that asked the question, and then Karine Jean-Pierre is like, I'm not going to answer. You're going to have to ask the White House. And she's like, I'm asking about policies. Are you going to institute new policies to assure that this doesn't happen again? And they're like, we're not going to comment on an investigation. How is that? Are you telling me that the American public doesn't deserve to know how you are preventing classified documents from leaking out? Which doesn't make any darn sense, you know, but whatever. I'm not in the White House. I'm not in Congress. I'm just some dude that makes YouTube videos in hopes that you guys all go over here. Listen, okay? This is a part of the video that you guys hate, okay? But I'm going to keep it under like 3 or 4 minutes, and then I'm going to go back to the show. So stick around, okay? You can go take a leak if you don't like me talking about, you know, our coffee side, but I have to because it's how we pay the bills. Many of you guys, and one of the reasons I wanted to do a night show tonight is because we have been doing something different. We've drastically changed our patriotic as F ammo can bundles. Okay, so these bundles are way different, and we have something special for you guys. April's putting it in the chat. So now, because a couple of people didn't really care for the fiery but peaceful, because it is a flavored coffee. Some people are like me and don't like flavored coffee. So they didn't like that, so I said, gotcha, hold my beer. So now in our patriotic bundles, you could choose your coffee, right? That's amazing. That's a new plus. So you could choose the coffee you want in your bundle. It makes my job harder, but it's easier for you guys. And then you'll see also down here, we have the subscribe and save. Now what this is incredibly important because what it is, it's allowing us to pay for our continued growth with our coffee side and be able to do some amazing shit. Most of which you're going to be able to see pretty soon because we've sold 3 of these yearly subscriptions. So the way the yearly subscription is, because I know there's a lot of people that buy these ammo cans every single, or buy these bundles when I used to do the Patriot bundle, Patriot box. There's people that buy them every month like clockwork. Every single month, there's people that have never missed an order. So this one is for you guys, okay? And there's like 20 of you, so I'm surprised we haven't had 20 people do this yet. So this bundle, the way this is working now is the ammo cans. You can order your full year's worth of ammo cans up front. Now, how does this work and why is this beneficial to you? Because obviously it's beneficial to me because I'm paid in advance for all the cans. It's beneficial to you because we are giving 2 free cans. So if you order now and you pay for the first 10, they're delivered at the same day. So if you order today, they're going to ship approximately the same day every month. So like your first one's going to ship either this weekend or you know next week. And then every single day when the order comes, like if you order today, then February 25th, the box is going to ship and it will ship just like that. It's automatic through the system. It's pretty badass. But you get 2 free months. You get your 11th and 12th month completely free. You get free shipping on every box. So altogether, that's like a $380 discount, which is like 27% off the total. But here's the best part. You also get a permanent code just for you that gives you 20% off our store forever. Okay, first I was doing it for a year, but I decided I'll do it forever because I kind of consider this like you're supporting the growth of the company. You know, that's why all the people were getting special and, you know, claps and all that stuff when they were doing it before. because it's incredibly important. But here's the other one. I know that, paying $1,249.92 for the boxes, unless you're doing it every month and then you realize that you're saving money by doing it this way, and you can use Shop Pay when you check out and break the payments up, so that's a big plus. But here's the other big plus. If you want to do just 6 months, I have a plan for that as well. The 6-month plan, you buy 5 boxes, you get your 6 free, you get free shipping on every box, and you get a 10% permanent discount for the store. So if you're a huge coffee drinker and you buy the boxes all the time, this makes sense. You get 10% off every single order, which is beautiful. Or if you're doing the year, you get 20% off for life. I mean, that drastically reduces the price of the coffee, and just makes us even better. So what I would urge everybody to do is to go and buy. I prefer you buy this one, because it breaks down your box cost. Instead of 125, it breaks it down to 104. And to be honest, it's not 125, because with the shipping, it's 137. So essentially now you're saving $30 a month, right? $33 a month. Multiply that by 12, you're saving a shit ton of money. Actually, multiply that by 10, because then you're getting 2 free boxes as well. So it's something that we're doing because, one, it's helping us quickly raise the amount of money I need to keep doing everything we're doing. And secondly, it's a good deal for you guys. And it helps me to, believe it or not, it helps me to pre-order all of this stuff well in advance. You know what I mean? Like, for example, today I ordered a pallet of ammo cans, 168 cans. No joke. I'm not messing around, because I took the money that I made off the 3 people that did it and immediately bought a pallet of these cans. And that's what I'm going to be doing, is just buying everything in bulk, which allows me to get the price. Like, for example, I called our coffee roaster today and I said, listen, I need you to do me a favor. And they're like, what? I said, I need to break this payment down more, because the coffee is costing so much. I know your expense is going up, but let's do it. And I actually got our coffee price lower, so that way when I build our coffee club over the next couple of days, it's actually, I can offer like 28% discounts on the prepaid subscriptions for the coffee clubs that we're doing and stuff. So the coffee is like, $12 a 12-ounce bag, which is dramatically cheaper. I mean, shit. Last week, I paid nearly $9 for a 12-ounce bag. Me paying. That's before packing and doing all that. So, but yeah, someone said, am I on Twitch? Yeah, I'm live on Twitch right now. Lost in space. But what I would ask everyone to do is just go in there. I still have more news stuff, so I know you guys may not like this, but I have to do it. And I sincerely hope, you guys will see me perk up the first time someone buys one of these things during the show. I get all amped up. I do all that stuff. Yeah, I get all amped up. So who wants to do it? Who's gonna challenge accepted? Maybe. And here's the thing too. If you order this bundle, right? Say you order this bundle, and 1 month you want the Awake Not Woke, and then the next month you want Pardon My French. All you have to do is send me an email, and we'll update it every single month. Or like, for example, if you don't want a random hoodie 1 month, or you want to switch and you say you sign up for the hoodie, right? But then it's summer and you want t-shirts. All you do is you just send me an email, or actually, and I'm making a special email just for the members for this one. So you email and you'll get priority, customer service, because I'm not going to handle it. April will, because I can't answer emails in a timely fashion. But she will answer, and what she'll do is she'll say, okay, this month, Shirley doesn't want a hoodie. She wants 2 t-shirts, and she wants these t-shirts from your store. And so we'll send out those t-shirts, send out the box, and then next month it goes the same way. So you still have that flexibility. And hopefully, I'll do whatever I got to do to make it super work for everybody. But yeah, if you guys will go, and I know it's to do the subscribe and save, you're saving a lot and you're subscribing, which definitely helps us. I was telling my wife when I was on here, I was like, I have a feeling that we're going to get a couple today. And I said, this is so big because it could really high speed what we're doing. What? Not high speed. That's not the right word. Basically means I don't have to take out a loan to pay for the next steps in doing what we're doing, so it's amazing. But anyway, enough of the infomercial. Let's go back to it. I do have some other stuff to talk about. I kind of been floating around with the whole thing. So I've already talked about some of the other things that I was planning. I was going to talk about the George Santos thing in more detail. I was going to talk about the Florida DeSantis, African studies thing. How many of you guys agree just blindly with, how many of you guys blindly agree that Ron DeSantis should have blocked that AP elective? Keep in mind, if you don't know what elective course means, it's not mandatory. It's not required. It's an elective. An AP college level high school course for seniors on Black African history. Because many people disagreed with him and many people believed that, or many people agreed with him and with DeSantis's decision to block that, saying it was woke or it had CRT or any of that stuff. I'm curious as to how many people truly agree with it, because I don't understand. Someone said, what is that link? DJ, I think you're talking about the link. I know, April on Twitch. DJ has a question about the link. Oh, I put the wrong link in there. Never mind. Damn, so you guys were all going to some fucking Twitch video instead of the right link. Didn't I copy it? That's funny. Not a Twitch video, because I was watching. Why? Oh, it's not copying this. Oh, wait. That's funny, bro. I'm funny. Here's the correct link. I don't know what I was doing. That's why nobody was going to the link. Now the correct link is in the chat. It's also in the description of the video, by the way. But the correct link to go to the Patriotic as F box is in there. I was wondering what was going on because I figured after talking about it that a couple of people would be checking out. I see one person has it in the cart, but yeah, that's my bad. Sorry, DJ. That's because I was thinking about talking about. This whole stuff that's going on with the Eliza person. However, I put it all on Twitter. She's a scam artist. Okay, she's a scam artist, and it's quite disturbing. It's quite disturbing. Don Klug said no one should be forced to take any CRT styled classes. That's indoctrination. So I'm assuming you agree with DeSantis. However, you're also missing the point that nobody was forced to take this course. It was an elective, an AP elective that had to be signed off by parents. So how does banning that? So tell me how is that different than banning the American flag or the Pledge of Allegiance? Tell me how that's different. Tell me how banning an elective course, well, actually, I can tell you how it's different because one is America, but tell me how it's different. Someone said, who knows what's in their Black history curriculum? Well, NPR does. They wrote all about it. So did Forbes. So did virtually every single other news outlet that's not, super liberal or super left wing or whatever, or right wing. You could find it. But that's the truth. This was not a required course. This was not a course that people were forced to take. This was an elective course. And for anyone that doesn't know, an elective course is when you elect to take it. It's not a requirement. I had an elective my junior year, which was like my senior year because I'm smart as fuck and I graduated early. But with my junior year, my elective, the last course I had to take in high school before I graduated was cinema studies. It wasn't a required course. It wasn't a course that I had to take. I could have chose anything. I chose that one because I knew I could watch movies all day. And that's exactly what we did. But I don't know why the government is dictating what schools are allowed to teach when it's an elective. I agree, if this course was required for all high school graduates in order to graduate, then I would agree with the premise of that. But that's not what it was. It was an AP elective course, a college level course for it. They literally gave college credit for this course. Why ban it? Why ban it? DeSantis never said it was a required course. DeSantis, in the press conference, he never said that. He doesn't talk about the fact that it's an elective course. He didn't say it because, of course, if he says it's an elective, then you're going to have some right-wingers, some people on the right that are going to be like, oh, wait, why the fuck do we care if it's an elective then? Like if it's required, like fuck that CRT shit. But if it's an elective, why do we care? Because then aren't we very close to the same people that we were combating a year ago or 2 years ago when they were teaching us shit that we didn't want our kids to learn about? Or when they were removing programs or changing school names and shit because they disagreed with it, even though we didn't. We didn't have that option. We didn't have that choice anymore. Remember? Remember? How many of you guys remember that? How many? Because that's the whole reason why everybody started caring. You know, someone said, no, they didn't. No credit, still in trial. Thomas, it does have credit. So the College Board was getting it. That's why they were submitting for approval to everywhere. When the AP course, because this was a beta test, but there was college credit associated with all of them. And you could do a little tiny bit of research by just fucking Googling. Like literally Google. Don't go to one of the right-wing news sites. Don't go to one of the left-wing. Go to NPR, even though they're kind of left-wing now. But go to NPR. They do a huge breakdown of what's actually in the course. They do interviews with the Harvard professor who published the course. And then they talk about what its goal is in the long run, what it does, and that college credit is going to be acquired for taking said course. It's crazy. But I don't know why. I don't know why. Someone said CRT is bullpoop and should not be paid for out of tax dollars. You think vaccination should? You think Ukraine government should? Because here's the truth. What's good for you and what's good for my tax dollars may not be, or what's not good for my tax dollars is not what's good for my wife's. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's the problem with the government right now is we are not catered to, we're not catering to. We're trying to cancel out each other. Do you guys not understand that? Like, am I saying the right thing? All we're doing is canceling out each other, left and right. That's all we're doing. We're just canceling. You know what I mean? And so so with the school, we're canceling out the, courses that are electives because people have to go. Someone said NPR used to be left wing. It doesn't matter. Look, listen to what I said and find out the actual content of the story and then find out why you give a fuck if other kids learn about that. If it's not a requirement for yours. That's my thing. Why? Why does anybody care? Why do you care what someone else's kid is learning if it doesn't affect your kid? I never understood that. I still don't. If my kid is not subjected to it, maybe it's because people don't want a parent. You don't want that kid talking to your kid about the shit they're learning because it's contrary to what you're learning. Fuck that. Let kids be kids, and learn. I don't know. I don't know why so many people are choosing that as the battlefield that they want to have right now. Again, if that course was mandatory, my attitude is 100% different because it has no business being in there. With the leanings, do I think African history should be taught? Yeah, so does the state of Florida. They actually have a law that you have to teach African history. But it says as long as it doesn't have indoctrination. That's in the actual law in the state of Florida. Everybody can look that up as well. True. Those are facts. A lot of people don't like facts, but that's true. Someone said because it's an attempt to move college woke BS into high schools. It's an elective course. Are you trying to tell me that we don't have other shit that's, right-leaning in schools? Actually, I couldn't tell you what is right-leaning in schools nowadays. Do you know what I mean? But to me, it's like we have to pick our battles. Like if that's the hill that they want to die on there, it's fucking stupid. Stupid. Again, if it was a state required course that everybody had to take, you could say, well, I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to doing that. Well, I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to mandatory vaccinations. Or I don't want the government to use my taxpaying dollars to send money to Ukraine. But it's all ultimately, we don't have any control over that. If you want to control where your tax dollars are going to, then guess what you got to do? You got to run for office and start dictating where your tax-paying dollars are going to. But I also don't believe that my tax-paying dollars shouldn't go to fund what someone else wants to learn about, even though I may disagree with it. Does that make sense? Maybe I'm just a little bit different than others. It doesn't affect me if another kid is taking that course and it does something for him. If it does anything for that kid, it's worth it for me and my taxpayer dollars to do it. If it fills in some gaps for that kid's life, I don't care. I don't care. Someone said I say it's a bad look for Florida to block it. Yeah, it is. It's a bad look because they could have argued elsewhere. Everyone's like arguing about left wing being right or NPR being left wing or right wing. That wasn't the point of my conversation. What I'm saying is it's hard right now to actually find out the actual context of anything that's going on. But ultimately, I said it from the beginning, and my opinion hasn't changed. It didn't change now, and it hasn't changed since this first thing came out. First thing I said is, I'm like, wait, this is an elective. Why do they fucking care? Why do you care? It's sponsored by the College Board. You know, it's not a huge tax burden. It's only in a couple of schools in the state of Florida. It's not going to be in 60 schools. It's 60 schools nationwide. What do we care about an elective? Were you pissed that they took band away? Were you pissed that they took home ec away and they stopped teaching it because it's sexist, right? How'd that make you feel? It sucked, right? You couldn't understand why they did it. Couldn't understand. It didn't make any sense. Well, now there's a bunch of people that are asking the same fucking question right now. And that's my point, is when we start canceling all this stuff, look what happened with books in schools. You know, and I know this firsthand because my wife is an English teacher in a public school. I know this firsthand. The left attacked all the books about the right, you know, conservative, racist, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Now the right's attacking all the books on the left. Saying, oh, we can't have that. Sexuality. Huckleberry Finn, you can't have it. Mice and Men, you can't have it. Can't have all these books, all these American classics that everyone grew up reading. Can't have it anymore. It's too sensitive for my kids. And then we wonder why our kids don't want to get up and have jobs. Want to be lazy as fuck, sleep till 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, if you're lucky. Normally it's later. It's the same thing, bro. You know, we live in a different time, man. Someone said by its name, obviously a lefty socialism stuff. Yeah, again, we're not talking about how NPR is a reputable news organization. We're not. We're not saying that. What I'm saying is it's the most concise article that I found about what's actually in this bill or in this course that's presented. And trust me, everyone's going to be able to see what's in the course come February 1st when they're releasing it. The College Board is releasing this course on February 1st. Do you want to know why they're waiting to that day? They're doing it to make a statement. Because that's the opening day of Black History Month, which begins February 1st. But they're going to release this whole course, and then everyone's going to have to eat a big piece of humble fucking pie, is my belief. Because everyone's going to be like, why do we care if people are teaching people about this and that and different, you know, interpersonal stuff? Like, I don't care, bro. I don't care. You know what a required course is in college? It's called interpersonal communication. I remember it was the stupidest fucking course I ever took in college. But it was a requirement. And what we had to do is we had to reflect on how we felt and how we did this and how we communicated and all. It was stupid as shit, right? Common sense. But I remember taking that course, and there were literally people that struggled with it. Struggled with, you know, emotion, struggled with, you know, the parts of the very basic aspects of communication. And then I understood why they required that. Because there were a lot of people that missed that gap. You know, that miss those understandings. But how many of you guys went to see, and I just went on a tangent there. It has nothing to do with what I was saying, except a little hippity-dippity. Someone said, why do people care if kids get those classes? It's just college. It's not college. This is high school. What we were talking about the African-American history, that's an AP high school elective. That's a problem to me. It's just like college. You know what I mean? That's what I just don't understand. That's just what I don't understand. Someone said I was pissed about it because it made kids dependent on others to do fundamental and very important skills, taking away the course. Yeah, I'm not sure what course, but someone said, Arkansas, I don't know if it's me or Steve, but this seems more like the Steve show. I love to see Steve is on game for sure. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, no problem. Hopefully more. I'm going to be doing more shows like this, but also I'm going to try to start doing guests once we get the studio built in the other store. You know, my plan is to do a night show, not every single day because I enjoy being at home with my family. I don't get to do it as much as I should, or I didn't do it as much as I should, but I hope to. What I would prefer everybody do real quick, and I'll tell you again because it's incredibly important to me to try to get, 2 or 3 people, the link in your chat. Patriotic as F bundle. All right. Add this bundle in. If you're doing well financially and you could do this, like I'll owe you a big one. You'll see down here, subscribe and save. Instead of $125, a month for 12 months, which comes out to $1,500. You could subscribe and save and get a year for $1249.92. Not only does that get you free shipping on every box, you never have to pay for shipping, and it gets you 12 boxes, 10 of which are you're paying for. The 11th and 12th month are completely free. Plus, you're going to get a custom code from me tomorrow, usually within 24 hours I'm doing it, that entitles you to 20% off everything site-wide. So when we launch coffee, not subscription plans because those are already heavily discounted, but things like that, you'll automatically get 20% off. I'm going to keep this open for a while, but I need as many people. Well, actually, I'm not going to put this away. It's going to stay up, and we'll continue this offering as much as we can. But I would really, someone said you do miss the American flag over the left shoulder. It's actually over there. I'll be honest with you. If I do 2 or 3 more boxes today, even though I was going to rent a truck tomorrow or this weekend, I'm going to go rent a truck tomorrow and move all this stuff to the office. But I need to get a couple more boxes sold, and because I need to buy more stuff, and I can't use the money that I've been saving to buy this stuff on a rental truck right now. Not until Sunday. So it's kind of like a catch-22. If we sell these bundles, it allows me to do everything that I need to do sooner, which allows growth, allows much more content, and a lot of stuff. I'm going to be doing a lot. My content's going to change a little bit, guys, because I just like Alaskan She-Wolf or whatever. Whoever said that before. I like this show the way I just did it too. I wouldn't mind having like a co-host or interviewing someone and talking about these kind of things and bouncing them off. And I'm going to work on that more. But yeah, so that's it. I really hope that at least 1, 2, 3, or 10 of you guys will go and subscribe to this bundle. Otherwise, all of our coffee except Flying High is in stock. So don't buy the Flying High tonight. I should have it back by probably Friday or Saturday, whenever they come with FedEx delivery. But everything else is in stock. Also tomorrow, the Fiery But Peaceful is going to be available for sale through our regular coffee. And then I'm going to be making a new coffee box. So you're going to be able to choose 5 different coffee roasts and have it delivered. There's all sorts of different stuff that's going to be transpiring on our store. You guys are going to be amazed. It's going to be amazing. And then we're going to start hitting neighborhoods near you because we're going to rapidly expand. All right, I just got to get over this one hurdle, and then the rapid expansion is coming soon. But if you could, guys, go in here. Rocky's Woodworking. So I'm probably going to need more flags. We sold the 3 that you sent. So I'm going to have to pay you for those, but I'm probably going to need more flags too because people want more flags. But anyway, there's the link in the chat. So if you guys would be so kind, go and buy that bundle. Do the yearly bundle if you can. You can use Shop Pay too and break up your payments, which is super nice, super good for you, super good for me too. And I will see all of you guys tomorrow. I think there may be a hearing. I may be covering a hearing in the morning. It depends. But